me ask you a question. What is your dream car? Now, I'm not talking about your $50 million Ferraris, your Le Mans winning Porsches. I'm talking about your achievable, attainable. That car would be my car for the rest of my life because it does absolutely everything car. This is mine, the Audi RS6 Performance. A more practical, powerful, pretty, perfect vehicle I don't think has ever been made. But here's the thing, I'm on my way to drive a new limited edition RS6. And I'm wondering, what could Audi have possibly done to make my dream car any better? Oh, I can see what they've done. They've made it look 10,000 times cooler. Wow. This is the Audi RS6 GT Avant, a very special edition from the guys at Audi Sport. Now, let me tell you about it. Just 660 examples of this car will be built, and of those 660, only 85 will come to America, and they will all be finished in this wonderful Audi Sport-inspired livery, which I think looks spectacular. Now, let me tell you about what is new on this car specifically. We've got carbon fiber front hood, painted carbon fiber, and you can actually see the carbon fiber here on these black insets. Beautiful. We've got a redesigned front grille, gloss black. We've got an extended front splitter there. Really menacing, very good looking, very subtly different to the RS6, but different nonetheless. Now, continuing the carbon fiber theme, we come around to the front wings, which are also carbon fiber. Beautiful, and they've got these spectacular motorsport inspired carve-outs here, which this front end is perfection. And I don't say that lightly. Look at these wonderful Avis Concepts inspired 6-spoke wheels, white on white, I mean. Oh, chef's kiss to you, Audi. We've also got carbon fiber on the wing mirror. That's a nice touch. Now, coming down the side here, we've got more carbon fiber, the front wing, the side splitters. Look, no roof rails here. Interesting aerodynamics. Why have they done that, I wonder? Well, that's because they have gone to town on this rear spoiler. Look how much bigger this thing is than on the regular RS6. It's spectacular. Coming around the back, there's a couple of other little flourishes. We've got a redesigned lower splitter here, and that's about it. I'll tell you about the driving dynamics when we get in the car in just a moment, because oh yes, we are driving this. But first, I want to tell you about where this car came from. A few years ago, Audi gave a pre-production RS6 to 12 junior apprentices who were working at Audi Design, learning the craft of car design. And they said, go nuts, make us something which is incredible, something that inspires us. They made the Audi RS6 GTO, a concept that was based loosely on the Audi 90 Quattro IMSA GTO from 1989, and I am amazed to say that we have it here today. This, and I say this with absolute seriousness, is racing royalty. This is a hero of mine. Let me tell you why. This car absolutely revolutionized road racing as we know it today. Now, in the late 1980s, Audi were dominating rally racing with their pioneering all-wheel drive Quattro system. And they thought to themselves, hey, this is really good on the dirt. Maybe it'll be good on the asphalt too. So for 1989, they entered the IMSA Racing Series with this car. Now, it's worth bearing in mind that at the time, IMSA was dominated by V8 powered rear-wheel drive cars. This has a 2.2 litre inline 5 and a turbo the size of my torso. Now, all-wheel drive plus all of that stuff, 720 horsepower to the road. That meant that this car could overtake on the outside of corners. The V8s had no hope. Of course, with that kind of power on display, this car was very successful. In 1989, with Hans-Joachim Stuck behind the wheel, they won around 75% of the races before IMSA banned all-wheel drive. That is an all too familiar pattern, right? Revolutionize the game, win at a canter, get cancelled. And sadly, that was the case for a few years, but the damage had already been done. Audi had already absolutely shown the world what Quattro and small displacement engines with giant turbos could do. So, we've seen the race car, we've driven the GT Performance. I think it's time we take the RS6 GT Avant for a run here at glorious, very hot Willow Springs Raceway. So I've taken you through the aesthetic changes, but there's far more to this car than a body kit, some carbon fiber, and a rather nice Audi Sport-inspired livery. Let me tell you a little bit more. So let's talk power first. And crucially, this car does not get a power update. It has the same 621 horsepower, 627 pound-feet of torque that you'll find in the RS6 Performance that I was driving a little bit earlier. But that isn't to say that Audi haven't been busy under the body of the GT. As you can hear, we've got an Audi Sport exhaust as standard. We've also got carbon ceramics as standard with those rather charming red painted calipers. Now, the significance of having carbon ceramics is that Audi can now change the top speed up to 190 miles per hour. That's quite a bump over the regular RS6. Now, this car also has a pair of new, or new-ish, differentials. It's got the same center locking differential that you'll find in the performance version of the RS6, and that allows the power to be split in this car 40% to the front, 60% to the rears as standard, but as much as 70% can be directed to the front wheels and as much as 85% can be directed to the rear wheels, depending on when the car feels certain slip across certain corners of the car. So pretty nifty. Now, so the reason for all that fiddling around with the differentials is because Audi have done a lot of work at the suspension level of this car. In fact, the RS6 GT Avant has fully adjustable, manually adjustable I should say, coilover suspension. You can set it to one of 3 settings to firm up the ride for when you come out to a racetrack such as this, which is pretty cool. Now, as well as that, we've got uprated dampers and we've got stiffer stabilizer bars. This car is actually 30% stiffer at the front and a whopping 80% stiffer at the back. How does that make sense? The RS6 already handled its power spectacularly well, but now the GT with that manual coilover suspension, the uprated stiffness, the center and rear diff both being bespoke for this car, that means that this car can really put the power down. Now, the car does sit 10 millimeters lower as standard because of that coilover suspension. And I've got to say, you can feel it. You really can feel it. There's an appropriate firmness to the ride now. You can tell that the work they've done to the rolling gear and the suspension has had a really nice effect in the way that this car portions out its weight, which is not insignificant. Let's not forget, this is a pretty heavy car. Carbon ceramic brakes feel nice. Would it have been nice for there to have been a power increase? Yeah, I would have liked that. But hey, you can't win them all. What Audi have done, far better than what they could have done, which would have been to slap some stickers on an RS6 and charge 20 grand more. No. They've worked very hard to offer meaningful updates. And the way that the car puts its power down, not that that was something the RS6 particularly had trouble doing, but you can feel that there's even more solidarity between the engine and the inputs that you're giving it, and the differentials, all the way through to the tires, which, by the way, are unique to this car. The idea of firming up the front end was, of course, to help with understeer at the limit. I'm not driving at the limit right now, but I can tell you that this car's got a great amount of bite. It's wonderful at turning in. Yeah, that's really, really nice. So look at that, hard on the carbon ceramics. You can feel the front end tense up, 30% stiffer, as I said. As we rotate round here, no understeer. We have to really cut in there for that apex. And again, we're already putting power down. That central locking differential pushing more and more power to the rear wheels as it senses a slip. Of course, the rear diff, uprated also for this car, can handle that power and deal it out. It's all going through the uprated tires, shod on the new wheels, and that wonderful uprated, manually adjustable, stiffer suspension. It's harmonious. Everything is working in unity to hustle me round. This is so cool. We'll turn our attentions to the inside. Now, there's not an awful lot that's changed on the inside, and that's not really a bad thing. The RS6 has a wonderful interior. We've got these slightly more supportive seats here with this shoulder bolstering. These are slightly different to the all-carbon kind of bucket seats that you'll get in Europe. These are made for the American market, but they're still a lot more supportive than the seats in the RS6. So that is great. Of course, we've got a lot of Alcantara and carbon fiber touches, but for the most part, It's just an RS6 in here, and that is kind of the beauty of it. It's worth bearing in mind at this moment that this is going to be the last gasoline-powered RS6. Audi made the announcement a little while ago that all the cars with even numbers in their names are going to be moving to EV. So the next RS6 will be a full EV. However, don't despair, because there will be a plug-in hybrid gasoline version of the new RS7 called the RS7 Avant, which will, for all intents and purposes, be an RS6 Avant, which is confusing, but ultimately a good thing, right? We love fast station wagons, and we're very happy to hear that Audi will essentially be giving us twice as many options moving forward. We'll have the electric RS6 and the hybrid-powered RS7 Avant. How exciting. You could be inclined to have been slightly upset that there wasn't a power increase for this GT model, but hey, I don't think you need it. The RS6 has a spectacular amount of power. What Audi have done is perfected the way it puts it down. They've also made it look badass at the same time. What a way for my dream car, the gasoline-powered Audi RS6, to go out in a flurry of spectacular, solid handling. Woo! Oh, wow. Oh, they didn't tell me about this. I'm being joined by the IMSA GTO. Oh, that is special. I tell you what, there's not many people that have seen that car in their mirrors for more than a turn or two. I am honored to share a track with a true motorsport icon. Wow. It really can't be stated how much of an impact that car had on motorsport as we know it today. As much as the rally cars did, that car also pioneered Quattro, and it's nice to see that this spiritual tribute to that car is also one that Audi have placed huge importance on their all-wheel drive architecture and their suspension work. It would have been wrong for this car not to handle like a dream, and it does. It's amazing. So there you have it, the Audi RS6 GT Avant and the Audi 90 Quattro IMSA GTO. What an icon.